Welcome back to Tipsy Whiskey Shenanigans. I'm Steven, and tonight, whenever the heck you're watching this, we are getting into the worst whiskeys of 2022. But before we do that, please do me that favor, like, comment, subscribe. Helps us out a ton, and we seriously appreciate the support. But let's get into today's video. So, were there a lot of bad whiskeys from 2022? No, not for me. I didn't buy a lot of bad, crappy whiskey in 2022. So, not gonna lie, a wee bit of a catfish video. This is a wee bit of a catfish video. I liked every bottle I bought in 2022 outside of one bottle. And if you've watched the channel before, you probably already know what that bottle is. But I liked all of them. So, instead of picking and choosing, what I did is I took all the bottles I got this year, all the limited releases from 2022, as well as some of my favorite picks from YouTube community-esque things. I support Trev, the Bourbon Ranch, a lot. I support Storytime Whiskey a lot, so I got a lot of their picks throughout this year. But so basically a few of their picks, a few Sealbox things, and a few other things here or there. But basically releases from 2022, and then picks that I got. I put those all together, 20 bottles in total because I wanted to keep it under 20, and I blinded them, compared them, figured out what were my favorites. So today, in actuality, I'm bringing you my worst or my least favorite of those 20 bottles. Not actually the worst whiskeys of 2022, just the whiskeys from 2022 that I didn't like as much as my best whiskeys from 2022, which is going to be a future video that I'm going to post after this video. But there is one on this list that I think is total freaking garbage and you need to stay away. And that is number 20, the bottom of the list. WhistlePig Bourbon. This is a drain pour if I've ever seen one. In my time in whiskey, I've had about 5 bottles where I've been like, this is bad whiskey, this is a drain pour. This is one of those 5. WhistlePig, stick to rye. You know what you're good at, stick to it. This, I think it's a blend of, correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, but this is a blend of their whiskey as well as MGP bourbon, blending it together to kind of create their own little blend. I think it's weird. I don't know. I've never seen someone blend in their own product with MGP whiskey and totally freaking ruin it, except for this bottle. This bottle is not good. It's a $50, 100 proof drain pour if I've ever seen one. And then after that, now we're getting into whiskeys from this year that I actually liked and I think are quality whiskey. So, number 19, the best whiskey of 2022, according to some people, Jack Daniel's Bonded. I think this is a good whiskey. A good whiskey. Do we need another bottle of this? Or do we need another Jack Daniel's Tennessee whiskey? I don't think so. I honestly just don't think the world needs anything like that. That being said, objectively, it is a pretty solid bourbon. It's very, very sweet, very banana. It blinds really well for me. When I taste it not blind, I'm like, it's good. It's not bad. It's priced appropriately. I'm happy to pay for it, but like it's just like it's just another $30, $35 bourbon. And like I said, it blinds really well for me. But in this specific blind, because I did all this stuff blindly, it just didn't do as good as the rest, Chief. It just didn't do it. Then after that one, Delbach Centennial Rye. This is a very new bottle for me. I legitimately got it like a week ago before this whole, list video and whatnot started doing, and I started doing this blind. This is Delbach, Tucson, Arizona. This is their first rye. This isn't technically their own juice, but it is finished by them. So this is MGP rye whiskey that they then take and then they finish it in their mesquite casks. Does it impart that much on the rye? Honestly, I couldn't really tell. I haven't side-by-sided it with any MGP whiskey yet. Obviously, like, there's been 2 drinks out of this. One for the blind and then one for actually drinking this bottle. But does it impart much onto it? I don't know. But I think it is still a pretty solid. I mean, it's right on par. It's a $35 MGP rye whiskey. You can't go wrong with MGP rye whiskey. It's some of my favorite rye whiskey out there, and I think this does it really well. So I think that was pretty nice, but overall, just another solid MGP rye whiskey. And then after that, a bottle that took me by storm, and I was so happy once I finally found it. The backup of that bonded Jack Daniel's Triple Mash. This was a wonderful whiskey. This is my favorite release in theory from this year. This is ideologically my favorite release. This is Jack Daniel's, a huge whiskey distillery, coloring outside the lines, doing stuff that's like out of their typical realm. Like, it's not stereotypical. They are coloring outside the lines. This is a blend of their Tennessee whiskey, rye whiskey, as well as their malt whiskey. And I think this is fabulous. Is it the best whiskey out there? No, but it's different. It's fun. It has a little bit of like a malty, spicy funk in there that you don't get in a lot of products, especially coming from Jack Daniel's. So I loved that they, as a distillery, decided to kind of color outside the lines and be a little bit more experimental this year. And I think their gamble paid off, because this whiskey, seemingly from a bunch of people in the community, everyone's kind of said they like it. I haven't met anyone who says they don't like it. Everyone's said it's either like good or it's, it's okay. They added something different and fun with this one, which we didn't get with the bonded, and that's kind of why the bonded for me is just kind of so-so. And then after that, a bottle that I crushed 3 of these bottles. This is bottle number 4 of this specific bottle. Wilderness Trail 2022 Cask Strength Curation Reserve. This stuff made me fall in love with Wilderness Trail. This is one of my favorite distilleries I found from this year. Before this year, I didn't really care for Wilderness Trail. I thought it was just okay. A little nutty, very sweet, just an okay bourbon. And then I found this at Costco for $49.99. I bought so many of these bottles. I've enjoyed the crap out of these. These are all fantastic. Great bottles, truly enjoy them. And I've kind of got to see more of Wilderness Trail than I previously did. This is their Ride Mash Bill, and I think it tastes fantastic. Very, very brown sugary for a bourbon, and I think it's really, really good. It's like Buffalo Trace is like kind of like powdered sugar to me. This is like brown sugar. It's dark, it's dense, it's kind of molassesy, and I love the heck out of those. And then after that, a bottle that I didn't really know what to expect because I've kind of had hit and miss feelings with this brand, Doc Swenson's Blender's Cut. This has been a really great purchase for me. Just like the Wilderness Trail, finding it at Costco for $49.99, I found this bad boy at Costco for $49.99, and likely, as long as it stays on the shelf, I'll be doing the same exact thing I did with the Wilderness Trail for this guy. I think this is an amazing MGP blend. So this is an MGP blend at 115 proof, 115 proof MGP blend from Doc Swenson's. I don't know the age. I don't know the theoretical price. Like I said, I got it for $49.99 at Costco, but I think it's a really solid, just crushable MGP blend. It can't be that incredibly old because I bought it for $49.99, but for what it was, I think it's an amazing pour for that price. That being said, there's not really much more to say about this. It's another one of those really good MGP blends. I mean, you can't go wrong with that, but it's also not coloring outside the lines. And then after that, I had a 2-for-1 on this. Obtainium light whiskey picks from the Bourbon Wrench. These I've truly enjoyed. I like these. I'm very inexperienced in light whiskeys, as in I've had 3 light whiskeys, and they've all been picked by the Bourbon Wrench / David and Kira from whiskeychannel.com. I like them. They're weird. They're funky. They definitely show up in a blind. I put these all in a blind, and they're very, very apparent. Like there's no blinding these compared to a typical bourbon. They're very heavy on the bright vanilla-y, slightly ethanol-y side. I enjoyed these. These are both, I think one's 15 years and one's 14 years. They're all pretty high proof, 67.2%. But they're a lot of fun, really, really amazing bottles. Again, those two really kind of stuck out as a sore thumb in the blind, so I put them together just because it was very apparent. And honestly, I don't know which one of the two I like. It's kind of hit and miss. I've A-B'd them a lot, and like honestly, it's like I like one's nose a little bit better. I like the palate a little bit better, but those were number 14 for me this year. And then coming up in number 13, a brand I love to death, Sagamore Spirits Rye Whiskey, and this is the rum cask finished rye. This is flippin' amazing, and it's not cask strength. I'm a proof whore, and I love this bottle without it even being cask strength. So this is rum finished Sagamore Spirits. It is 49% ABV, so not even 100 proof. Not even 100 proof, which is rare for me to like love a bottle so much. But this is blending and finishing done right. So they blend MGP whiskey, they do high rye and low rye, and they usually have a really, really good blend. Then they took it, they finished it in agricole rum barrels, and it got incredible. It has this nice like sweet and spicy kind of like floral-y vibe going on in there. It's amazing. This has been probably my favorite finished whiskey, just from like objectively just drinking it and thinking it's an enjoyable pour throughout this whole year. Coming up in the 12th slot, we have a whiskey coming from Storytime, or more a pick, coming from Storytime and Jepson's. This is Port Night Rises. This is amazing, amazing. Before this bottle, I don't know if I've ever had MGP finished whiskey, but this is amazing. This stuff blew my mind. I'm a huge fan of red wine finishing stuff, and this does it really well. Another bottle I got this year didn't make the cut, unfortunately, just because this is like the champ of it. The Port Night from what is that brand called? Starlight Port Night. That is like kind of the little brother of this. This stomps that, and it did incredibly well. Number 12 of my favorite whiskeys of this year, because there was legitimately only one that did not make the cut of like quality whiskey on this list. So this doing number 12 for a $70 finished bourbon from MGP, really, really solid, amazing pick, and Storytime does some amazing picks. A bottle from them that is not going to make it on this list because I never got it, Old Dragon Bones. If I had, it would be likely number 1 of this year because that is an incredible pour. They do some amazing stuff, and I truly enjoyed the crap out of this pick. And then coming up last, the best worst whiskey of 2022. Number 11. The final one to just make it under the cut, almost making it to the best whiskeys of 2022. Booker's 2022-02, the Lumberyard batch. I liked this bottle. This bottle has been amazing. This was the first Booker's I ever had. It took me a hot minute to get into this just because from a statistical standpoint, Knob Creek is way better value. So it took me a hot minute to actually get into Booker's and to find a Booker's for a good price. I found this for a good price, and I think it's really good. You see a side of beam that you don't get in a Knob Creek. This is very bright, florally, kind of citrusy for a beam product. It's definitely not super bright and citrusy. It's still heavily nutty, but this is a really, really good bottle. And if you're, able to find one of these and you haven't had Booker's yet, but you're like kind of curious to give it a try since they have such a bad name, but this is such a cool branding, this is definitely one to give a try because, again, if you can find it for under $90 or 100, I bought it for 100. If you can find it for 100 or under, I think it's well worth it. I wasn't disappointed with my purchase at all. That being said, this is a wrap for today's video. Let me know down below what you thought about my list of worst whiskeys of 2022. And again, it's not really the worst, it's just the bottom 10 of my top 20 list essentially. But yeah, do me that favor, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know down below what you guys thought about today's video concept as a whole. Let me know what you guys thought about my list. Also, do me a favor, check out the Facebook, Instagram, and the Patreon. The links for all that stuff are down there below. That is a wrap for this video. Cheers, y'all. We'll see you later.